I'm Roy Rogers, and I've got a secret.
I've Got a Secret, brought to you tonight by Green Whip, the light, delicious topping that won't wilt on your dessert. Green Whip. Now, here is I've Got a Secret, starring Gary Moore.
Well, thank you, and good evening to you, and to you as well, most certainly. Welcome to another edition of I've Got a Secret. Before we get down to business, let's meet our busy panel. First, there's Bill Cullen, and Betsy Palmer, and Henry Morgan, Jolly Hank, and Bess Myers, and that's our panel. Before we meet our first contestant, I have some old business to take care of. It seemed that inadvertently I got us into a little trouble last week. Last week we introduced contestant Bernie George as being the chief engineer of the Minotone Electronics Corporation. And you might remember he had with him what we pretended was a tiny transistor radio. Now, after stumping the panel, we told them that Mr. George was really a ventriloquist, that the radio was a fake, and that we had made up the name of the company. Wouldn't you know it? We have now found out that there is a Minotone Electronics Incorporated. We are informed that it does not make transistor radios, and of course Mr. George is in no way connected with the Minotone Electronics Incorporated, but they are healthy and in existence. We are happy to set the record straight. All right, may we have our first contestant, please? Will you tell our panel, please, what your name is and where you're from?
Don Cameron from Weston, Connecticut.
Mr. Cameron, and he is from Weston, Connecticut. Mr. Cameron, I couldn't help notice that you seem to have a friend hanging around.
That's Pat McCormick of your production staff.
That's Pat McCormick of our staff? Well, hello, Pat. I didn't recognize you somehow or other. Nice to see you, and we'll see more of you a little later, I hope. Now, Mr. Cameron, would you tell us what's holding him up there?
That's my secret.
That's your secret? All right, step in and whisper it to me. Unbelievable. All right. Panel, the clue to Mr. Cameron's secret concerns, of course, Mr. McCormick's suspended condition. And we'll start, Bill Cullen, with you, please.
And am I looking, Dawn, for that which is holding Pat up? I mean...
That's correct.
Is it... Well, let's get the first thing. Is it a rope and a noose? Let's get that over with.
No.
No, there's nothing punitive about this tonight.
Is this thing, however, attached to the top? Something that is secured above his head. Is that reasonably...
Yes.
Is it... Are we interested to know the size of the thing that's holding him up?
The size was not stated in the secret, but it may be of some help to you.
The nature of that which is holding him up?
Yes.
Nature of it.
Like...
$20 down, $60 to go. We go, please, to Betsy.
That's what I meant by nature.
Are you going to put him into the driver's seat? Do you suppose?
No, not tonight.
No? But is it how you do the man that way?
You could, but they don't.
No, Mr. Cameron? Bill keeps saying I should stay with it. All right, I won't.
Well, in other words, your question was, does this secret involve how he is suspended? We'd have to say yes, then, wouldn't we, Mr. Cameron?
Yes.
Yes.
Does this have anything to do with once on the show we had a drop of something that was made by a company that adhered things together, like a glue that was fantastic. And has this glue got something to do... Look at him. Has this glue got something to do with Pat?
No.
It is not a glue, nor is it any nature of adhesive. All right, $40 down, $40 to go. Pat, every move's a picture. It's magnificent. And Henry Morgan?
Well, he is an angel, we know. He's part way to heaven right now. Is it anything to do with a magnetic field?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, good. Keep with it.
Keep with it?
Yeah, keep with it.
Fine, they give it to you for nothing. Does Pat have a metallic thing attached to himself?
yes.
Maybe some.
And is this an electrified magnet that's holding him up?
We're going to have to give that to you on that basis. Yes, it is. Now, the secret as stressed, or I stated on the card, did not tell the complete secret because it's too involved to state on the card. Mr. Cameron is an engineer at Union Carbide Corporation. He's also the designer and builder of the device that has been holding Pat McCormick in aloft for the past few minutes. If you raise the curtain, you'll see that it's a miniature electromagnet. There's Pat McCormick. Henry, when I say miniature, I use the word advisedly. Wouldn't you like to have him hanging from your Christmas tree? When I say miniature, I use the word advisedly because the power supply that allows this magnet to hold Pat McCormick's 225 pounds in the air comes from an ordinary one-cell flashlight battery.
Oh, my.
The whole thing. Mr. Cameron, if you will get the ladder, please.
All this for stealing a horse.
Now, Mr. Cameron will ascend the ladder, and he will explain to you what you are seeing and why it is so magnificent.
This black unit is the electromagnet. The striped piece is a plate of iron that is being held to the electromagnet with all of the power coming from this single ever-ready flashlight battery. Now, as soon as I take the flashlight battery out, the magnetic field stops and down goes Pat.
All right, Pat, stand by.
Are you ready, Pat? Ready? How Peter Pan felt.
Now he knows how Peter Pan felt. He looks as much like Peter Pan. Thanks, Pat, very much. Now, let me try to explain this to you in my layman's terms. Here, again, we have a surface of iron, you say, sir?
Iron.
Here is an electromagnet, which, when the battery is removed, ceases to be a magnet. It would hold up nothing, right? All right. Now, when you went around and asked your colleagues, other experts in the field, for an estimate of how much power could be generated by this one battery in terms of lifting power or holding power, what was the estimate?
Yeah, they range between 3 pounds and 8 pounds.
3 pounds and 8 pounds was the maximum estimate. All right, sir, if you will put the battery back in, we will give a further demonstration of the power that can be generated by this tiny, tiny source of power. Again, the battery goes in. Battery goes in, and you saw 225-pound Pat McCormick suspended from this. Unfortunately, together, the two of us weigh in excess of 350 pounds. We put our foot in a small loop at the bottom, and up we go. I'd much rather be doing this with Bess Meyerson, but you know the way things go. Mr. Cameron feels the same way, no doubt. Sir, this has been a truly remarkable demonstration. Thank you for letting us be the first to show it.
Thank you.
You know, last night I had the wackiest dream. I dreamed that I was sitting here telling you about Dream Whip when suddenly I heard a voice. And the voice said,
Gary, darling, you're underestimating me.
it was the Dream Whip. Then I said, but nobody told me that you could talk.
No, talking's a minor talent. I mean, you haven't been telling folks how really and truly delicious I am.
But
Now whipped through and through with fresh whipped flavor, yet so blessedly low in calories, only 17 per tablespoon serving.
yeah, well, I say that, and then I go on to say that when it comes to making glamorous desserts like this one, layers of Dream Whip and cubed Jell-O, Dream Whip really shows off. It fairly melts in your mouth, but not in your dessert like other toppings. Dream Whip stays fluffy.
A rather neat treat, I must say.
Well, I agree. And then I go on to say, keep several boxes of Dream Whip handy. It'll stay fresh, ready, and waiting. That's Dream Whip.
Gary, Dream Whip.
That's what I said. Without further ado, may we please welcome our next guests. Now, young gentlemen, let's find out who you are and where you are from.
My name is Paul White, and I am a student at the University of Illinois in Champaign, Illinois.
Paul White of the University of Illinois. And you, sir?
I'm Frank Morrell from the University of Illinois.
Paul and Frank. Now, they are students at the university and both reside at Hopkins House. Is that not true?
That's right, Gary.
All right, now we'll start with Mr. White on my right. Sir, if you'll whisper your secret to me, we'll show it to our audience at home. Well, that sounds like a good start. Mr. Morrell, why don't you tell me the rest of it? Panel, a clue to these gentlemen's secret concerns something they did, and Bess, we never got to you on the last round, so we'll start with you, please.
All right. Paul, is this something you did at school
That's correct, yes.
this semester?
Yes, this semester.
Did it perhaps take place in Hopkins House?
Yes, it did.
Oh, because
We'd have to say partially.
partially. Does it have anything to do with, I think I know, but does it have anything to do with communication?
Yes.
$20 down, $60 to go. If you read this in the newspaper, that's a legitimate source of knowledge. And we go, please, now to Bill Cullen.
Why is it she read it and the buzzer buzzed and I didn't read it and now I got to do it?
You did read it.
Communication, and I read it, you say?
Yes.
Everybody read it.
Yes.
Did you holler at it? No. Does it have to do with mail? Letters?
No.
Telephone calls?
Telephone
Yes.
calls, yes.
Telephone, and that you made a long-distance telephone call from Hopkins House to somewhere.
Wrong. No.
From somewhere to Hopkins House?
No.
$40 down, $40 to go, and we go, please, to Betsy.
Did you create your own telephone?
No.
You use the regular kind that the telephone company puts out?
True.
Did you call one another?
No. No.
Did you call the opposite sex? You know now. That's great. That doesn't help me at all.
Last question was, did you call
The opposite sex members of the...
Yes. Yes.
Oh, did you call a lot of girls for dates or something like that?
Not exactly. Not exactly, no.
Your mothers?
All right, we've lost 60, and a blank-looking Henry Morgan, if I may say so.
Say so. Did you call, was it a lot of girls?
Yes. Yes.
Was it like trying to set a record? Like you called 2,000 girls in one night, something like that?
Not exactly.
They did set a record.
Or was it like you made a certain number of calls without getting a date?
No.
Or you made a certain number of calls like you called Vassar and Smith and Holyoke and all around?
I'll help you to this extent, Henry. I'll tell you, they did not make calls. They made a call.
You called the largest supplier of...
$80 down and nothing to go, and don't write in to us for the address because Henry was just guessing. Now, panel, as we told you, both of these young men are students at the University of Illinois. The secret they share started when young Mr. White was faced with a long, dull weekend. Like any normal, red-blooded American boy, he decided to make things more interesting by placing a call to the girls' dormitory. And with the help of some volunteers from both the girls' dorm and the boys' dorm, the conversation continued until Mr. Morrell here hung up the phone 5 days later after 120 hours of continuous conversation.
It was a record. Our party line was wonderful.
Yes, Henry.
Isn't that
Did they say no?
Some of them.
Yes. Normally, I must admit, a rather dim view of many college capers like telephone booth stuffing and dormitory raids, but this one struck a responsive chord in me. It was arranged so that no school work time was lost, and some good did come out of it. Now, Mr. White, how many people were involved in this marathon phone call?
Well, there were 72 men involved and 99 women.
What a score.
Well, why did you do it?
for something to do.
Well, how did you manage to keep the call going for 5 days, and especially the nights?
Well, we worked on an hour shift basis, Gary, and the night time was the best time to talk. People love to sign up for the wee small hours in the morning.
I'll bet you. Well, now, as social director of the men's dormitory, what were the results of the chain phone call?
Well, we've had about 30 blind dates set up during the phone call itself, and a pizza party was arranged for those that weren't quite as aggressive over the telephone.
Now, Mr. Morello, I understand that you are the student house counselor of the men's dorm.
Yes.
As counselor, shouldn't you have been counseling against this Falderall?
Generally, you would, but in this case, it was just after the midterm examinations, and it served as a release of tension.
Sure it did.
Plus this social aspect.
Yes, plus the 30 blind dates, which is no law, certainly.
I might point out one thing. We didn't interfere with anybody else's telephone conversation. This was just between the two of us.
This campus, the inter-campus telephone.
Right.
Now, because of his understanding attitude, the boys in the dorm gave Frank Morrell the honor of hanging up the phone 120 hours after Paul White picked it up. And one thing that bothers me, though, fellas, is I knew your call was made on a pay phone, right?
That's correct, Gary, yes.
How many dimes did you have to drop in?
Just one dime. In Illinois, we can make a local call in Champaign for 1 dime. There's no units.
At the end of 3 minutes, the lovely lady doesn't come in and say, "In 3 minutes, it's out."
That's correct. We can talk as long as we want.
Well, boy, I'll tell you, you fellas certainly know how to get the most out of a dime. I don't know who to put in charge of this, but I don't want you to ever be without finances. So here's a dime, which I will give to the counselor to use as you may. Your other money will be waiting for you off stage.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you very much. Now, we'll meet our special guest in just a moment, but first, here's a message from a friend of ours.
Hello, I'm Denise Lohr. You know, every woman wants pictures of her family for Christmas, even if she has to take them herself. And that's no trouble at all with the new Polaroid land camera, the 10-second automatic. This one is the newest compact size. And look how easy it is to use. All I do is aim. I don't even focus. I just push 3 buttons. 1, 2, 3. That's terrific, Jackie. Thank you. And that's all there is to it. With the Polaroid 10-second automatic camera, you never worry about dials and numbers. And this electric eye reads the light and automatically makes the right settings from dawn to dusk. And for indoor shots, we have a built-in flash. Now, let's see how well I did. See that? You can get pictures like this of your children on Christmas Day if you have a Polaroid 10-second automatic camera. So start hinting now, or buy one for your husband. This newest model costs less than $75.
And now it's time for us to meet our special guest for tonight. You'll be seeing him along with his wife, Dale Evans, on the Bell Telephone Hour this coming Friday at 9:30 p.m., unfortunately on another network. Here, then, is America's favorite cowboy, Mr. Roy Rogers. I see you bought a complete change of clothes. Do you expect to work that hard on the show tonight?
Oh, these aren't for me. I brought them along for Henry Morgan.
Oh, boy. You mean you're going to give Henry this magnificent outfit after the show?
No, I'm going to give him to him right now.
Don't bother.
Henry, will you come stand center here, please? You will not be asked to disrobe too thoroughly.
Fine-looking outfit.
You want to put it back in the table? Hello, Hank. How are you, old boy? You know Roy Rogers?
No.
Henry Morgan?
Hi, Henry.
How are you?
You look terrified. Now, Roy, before we go any further, will you tell us why we're having Henry make a slight change of clothes?
Yeah, why? Well, that's my secret.
Well, all right. Hank, don't listen. I think that's magnificent. Now, panel, the clue to Roy Rogers' secret concerns something he's going to do, and we'll start with Bess Myerson, please.
All right. Well, obviously,
Don't move, Calvin.
you're going to try to make a cowboy out of Henry.
Well, that has something to do with it.
Mind taking your coat off, old man?
Yes.
After you change his clothes, are you going to bring Another guest on the
He's
show?
going to ride me.
No, no other guests.
No, I mean, Henry's not going to have to ride a horse.
Sorry,
or anything,
Henry.
Is he?
The Cowboys won't go for that.
What was the question?
Will Henry have to ride a horse as well?
You mean tonight?
Yes?
Well, I didn't get that. What?
Want to know if he's going to ride a horse tonight?
Oh, not tonight, no.
Oh, some...
There's $20 down, $60 to go. We go, please, to Bill Cullen.
I'd like to suspend my questioning and watch this operation.
After an operation, aren't they beautiful?
Yeah, are they not?
Those are chaps, see?
Oh,
Step
yeah.
right in there,
Step in those chaps there.
Henry.
Chap. That's a good chap.
Roy, when you finally get Henry all dressed up, do you have a job for him? I mean, a task for him to perform. Oh.
Well, yes and no.
Well, Henry just gave me a good hint. You aren't going to get him all dressed up like...
You're losing your...
Henry, your pants are falling down.
Do you work in this? I borrowed those from Mandy Devine.
Oh.
Okay.
Are you going to shoot Henry when it's all over, Roy?
No.
$40 down, $40 to go. Betsy Palmer, please. You just tighten the cinch a little bit, that's all.
What you going to do? Are you going to do this here on the stage tonight? Roy?
No.
No? Well, Henry goes to California,
Turn around
so
to the
you
back.
can't do it to him. You going to...
$60 down, $20 to go. Henry, it's your turn to guess.
What?
Oh! What? That's what you're to guess.
Was your object to make me sort of foolish?
It might turn out that way.
It has.
Henry, my friend, brace yourself. Now, you know we played some dirty tricks on you in the past, some fairly outlandish stuff, but we're going to make up for it all tonight. Any man, red-blooded man or boy, would love to trade places with you because Roy Rogers' secret is that he's going to give you a job on his ranch.
That might be part of it.
Henry, you fly out to California tomorrow morning, and Wednesday you report for work, a day's work at Roy's Ranch in the San Fernando Valley. Isn't that great?
I'd like to hear a little more.
Roy, explain one thing to me. Why, of all the people who would love to work on your ranch, did you pick Henry for this particular honor?
Well, to be honest with you, Gary, I didn't do the picking. Mm-hmm. You see, my cowhands out at the ranch did it.
You took a vote among the cows. Tell the truth.
This is the one fellow that they wanted to meet and know personally.
Well, now, I know that Henry must be Friday, but why would they pick Henry in particular?
Well, the only explanation is that I can find out is this record I found in the bunkhouse.
Oh, yes, this is an album of monologues that Henry made a couple of years ago.
Don't. I hate the company. I'm not speaking to them. It's a bad record. That's a mighty bad record. Do not buy this here record. I've heard of record clubs before, but not like this. No, bad.
All right. I would like to go on record as saying I was Henry that just said that. I didn't say that. Have you heard this? You know, I noticed here, though, on the back. It's
Friends, this is a record that can only appeal to cowhands.
Well, it's got one monologue on here called The Truth About Cowhands. And have you heard it, the record?
Unfortunately, I haven't, Gary, but I think this is the reason why.
This is the way
they're going to kill me.
That's why I haven't heard the monologue. But, by the way, I have obtained a written copy of the manuscript that you wrote and put on the record.
Henry?
And, I think if Henry's kind enough to read it, we might find out why the Cowboys want to meet him and kind of work on him. I mean, work with him.
These are just excerpts, Henry, some of the tenderer moments from it. Would you read these out loud and
I'd
clearly?
like to hear them, too.
Well, can I say as a preface that I wrote this for children so that they would understand that the Westerns on television are not exactly all they're cracked up to be, and I meant it to be educational. It wasn't for cowhands.
What do you mean Westerns are not what they're cracked up to be? This man is in Westerns.
Well, he's acting. He's not real. Not what I... It's...
Go ahead and read, Henry.
Well, it starts out... The average cowboy didn't know how to read or write.
Well, that's pretty close.
His job was to sit on his horse all day and stare at cows.
Boys will love
You might
that.
stare back, too.
At night, he slept in a horse blanket on the ground The blanket was called a horse blanket because it was used for the horse, too. And as a result, it smelled like both of them. Now I know why the boys want to meet you. Now, I was a lot younger when I did this.
You're going to be a lot older after you read this next one.
After he goes to the ranch. Cowboys didn't bathe much. Just up to their calves.
Don't get downwind.
The way this happened was they came to a stream and the rider would be too lazy to get off the horse.
I mean, that's on record?
No, on that record, which doesn't exist. When the horse swam, the cowboy got his ankles bathed. That was considered plenty. You know from the movies, of course, that they wore black hats and black shirts. These originally were white.
One final statement which I will ask you to read, which is sure to endure you to the ranch hands of Roy Rogers.
Why don't you shoot me now?
Well, we want to do it the long way.
Once a year was roundup time. The cowboy's job was to herd the cattle all together and get them moving in one direction. To do the same thing with sheep, sheepdogs are used because they're somewhat smarter and 4 times faster than a cowboy.
Stuff for you, some of which may come in handy. I'll hold these for the moment. What's the first thing he's going to need out there?
I think
How am I going to defend myself?
This will be the first thing you'll need.
Now I'm getting interested.
Friends, if you...
And, of course...
Roy, just keep loading him up.
Oh, yes, naturally.
Now, next week on the show, we will have a film report of Henry's Day on Roy Rogers Ranch, and Roy will keep loading him up.
3 yards of rope. You might be on the end of it.
Roy Rogers! Take it out, Roy.
Now, here's a message from next week's sponsor, Contact.
Now, all day or all night relief from head cold congestion with continuous action medication. New Contact Continuous Action Capsules. Contact's unique formula gives all day or all night relief, decongests nasal passages, dries runny nose, relieves sneezing. With ordinary remedies, unless you take pill after pill, your symptoms return every few hours. But new Contact gives all day or all night relief. Each capsule contains over 600 tiny time pills. Some go to work right away for fast relief. The rest dissolve slowly in your digestive system. They release medication drop by drop into your bloodstream for up to 12 hours relief, up to 8 hours longer than one dose of any leading cold pill. Take one Contact capsule for all day or all night relief. Next time you have a cold, get Contact.
Myerson's Down by Cameo.
This is George Chandler. Goats in the kitchen and cows in the bedroom. That happens on Ichabod and Me. Tomorrow on most of these CBS television stations. Drop in if you've a notion to.
I've Got a Secret has been brought to you tonight by the light, delicious dessert topping, Dream Whip. Another fine product of General Foods. The preceding program was pre-recorded. This is John Cannon speaking.
Are you watching, you little rascals?
It's fun, isn't it?
And who subscribes to it?
Go on, push the button.
Think of the fun you could have on the tube.
The tube?
YouTube. Tube. TV tubes.
That's a lot of fun, isn't it?
It's going to be a lot more fun if you keep going the way you're going.
Go on, push the button.
Please subscribe.
I hope they're watching.